If you've never been to Vietnam, you might expect bikini air, but real Vietnam is full of unspoken rules.
In this video, you'll learn everything not to do in Vietnam. You might dream of beaches full of young bikini-clad women in Vietnam and girls gone wild in Saigon, but in reality, Vietnam has a conservative, strict dress code, especially for women. Do not expect to see bikini-clad babes in Vietnam. You're much more likely to see Vietnamese aunties dressed head to toe and fully clothed at the beach. This is not Bangkok, Phuket, or Pattaya in Thailand. This is a conservative, straight-laced, but very beautiful country. And there are definitely no sexy bikini-clad stewardesses bouncing around with their bubbies out on the airlines in Vietnam. Don't make all the mistakes I've made in the 5 years I've lived in Vietnam. Save yourself the time and hassle by watching to the end of this video. This next one might really surprise some of you, but do not fall into a Vietnamese internet content rabbit hole. The TV and pop culture here are super shocking and weird for a lot of Westerners, and I promise you can get sucked deep into a Vietnamese content rabbit hole. You might be used to a quiet sleep in your suburban home, but do not expect a quiet, serene, natural retreat when you come to Vietnam. The natural beauty is real in Vietnam, but the reality of the cities is honking motorbikes, exhaust fumes, drunks screaming at waiters, and blasting Vina House at all hours of the day and night. Even in the natural landscape way out in the countryside, Vietnam can be loud as fuck. My wife and I once spent a beautiful weekend away for Christmas at Ba Bay Lake, way up in the north of the country, away from absolutely everything. How were we greeted? By a bunch of teenage boys blasting karaoke in the football pitch from 4 p.m. till 4 a.m. every single night when they got drunk as piss. I don't know if you can hear the traffic and construction here. I hope to God you can't because this mic is so good, but it's loud AF right now when I'm recording. Seriously, do not expect peace and quiet in Vietnam. There are no noise laws, but even if you find yourself super pissed off about all the yelling and the noise and the music, think twice before confronting people or going down to have it out with the rooster cawing at 5 a.m. because you should not confront people directly in Vietnam. And of course, you shouldn't cancel your trip either. The country is amazing. But let me get to the main point here. Vietnam has a culture of saving face. That means people will bend over backwards to try and appease you and to look good in front of you, even if they do not agree with you. In fact, they might even hate what you're saying, but they will still try and help or accommodate, which is pretty shocking if, like me, you've lived in New York or San Francisco. It ain't like that, trust me. In fact, this kind of culture shock and the saving face thing can actually be pretty sweet for tourists and come out in your favor. But it's also pretty common in Vietnam to bend the truth or to lie a little bit if that helps save face as well. Trust me, I've had to train myself to be calm and patient here because people will just keep telling you yes, even if there's no chance that what you're asking for is going to happen. But they're still going to nod and go along with it because that's the cultural pride they have. Respect it. Vietnam is not the land of a million smiles or whatever they call Thailand. There are still plenty of tourist scams in Vietnam, and most of them involve someone posing as a friend or trying to gain your trust or be a confidant. The most common of the tourist scams are easy to avoid if you just follow this list of things you should not do in Vietnam. Do not cancel your hotel booking for a DM or a private thing just to save the hotel a booking fee. This is a scam. Do not cancel your ride-hailing app and get on the back of a bike or in a car. It's a scam. Do not eat any food, drink, or take any toys or trinkets handed to you on the beach or in a busy street unless you want to pay an exorbitant and insane tourist tax prices. But hey, look, if you want to pay $10 for a coconut to sit on a broken palapa chair on an empty beach, you do you, man. And remember, look on the bright side. You don't tip in Vietnam. But also know, I'm just warning you about the bad apples. Scammers are the minority in Vietnam. 99% of the people here are going to be friendly, welcoming, and offer you beautiful food, culture, and an incredible experience while you visit Vietnam. Don't think I'm trashing Vietnam. I fucking love this country. It is my favorite place in Southeast Asia and the best, most affordable and livable country I've ever been to. The problem is you have one bad experience during your 10 days in Vietnam, and that's the only thing you're gonna remember. You're gonna forget the 100 incredible experiences, the life-changing moment and you're just going to write that one shit review on TripAdvisor or Expedia or whatever. By the way, use my affiliate links. The reality is most of you are probably going to want to go full Anthony Bourdain, Charlie Sheen, Land of the Rising Sun, and just lull your life away on a stool in Hanoi, smashing 50-cent beers and eating noodles. What do you think I'm doing here? So trust me on this next one. Do not carry around your Visa debit card from your home bank. There are still tons of debit card scam readers. They're usually in restaurants, bars, hotels, in touristy areas. Exactly the kind of place where you're going to sit down to chill out and have a beer. So what do? You sign up for a Wise travel card, you skip currency exchange fees, your money is safe and protected, and you have a fucking time of your life in Vietnam. Use my link below. And for God's sake, if you rent a motorcycle or anything else, do not trust someone with your passport. Have them take a photo of your passport. The classic scam works like this. You leave your passport behind, you go have fun, yada yada. Turns out the bike you're driving just looks nice and it sucks. It breaks down. Later, you gotta pay 10 times the normal price to the mechanic to fix it. And lo and behold, they got your passport as collateral. Don't make the mistake. Trust me. But I should tell you, on the bright side, do not pay ticket value for anything in Vietnam. Absolutely every single price in this entire country is negotiable from top to bottom. People here love to haggle. They enjoy a good bargain. They will take pleasure in going back and forth with you. And there's a good chance that you're gonna get a price 80, 90% even cheaper than the first price they told you. In fact, it's pretty common here for sellers to think you're a moron if you pay the first price that they ask for. That said, don't be a dick and haggle over pennies. I know, this is a negative list, it's a hit list, but don't let me scare you. Vietnam is my favorite country in the world, and it's safe, warm, and relatively welcoming compared to everywhere I've been. Pretty much all the dangerous things you can do in this country happen on the back of a motorbike. Do not have your phone or purse handy or out in the open when you're riding on the back of a bike in Hanoi or especially in Ho Chi Minh. Purse snatchings and other fake bike crash related scams are super common. You'll probably be on the back of the bike having the time of your life at some point, doing the full Bourdain around the loop in Hon Kiem or up in Ha Giang, and I commend you. Enjoy it. It's worth it. It's beautiful. The infrastructure in Vietnam is not what it's like in a lot of the other countries and the neighbors around. Traffic is absolutely insane chaos in both Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. You could be stuck in a car for hours at a time in the middle of a downpour with literally nowhere to go as the motorcycles drive by on the sidewalk. But once you start crossing the street, do not stop, do not look back, and do not slow down. The rule of the land around here is to just keep going at a nice, steady, even pace. Basically, everyone expects you to go with the school of fish mentality, so just don't turn around, don't stop, don't freak out, move that steady course to the other side of the street, and you will be good. But if there is an accident, do not trust the police, especially the traffic cops here are known for corruption. They're the guys in the beige suits. They will ask for a bribe of some kind, whatever. That's not even that bad if it's just a few bucks, but be warned, sad one. But if you see those Oliver Twist looking kids or the women walking around with unconscious babies at this traffic light, people spitting gasoline and shooting flames out of their mouth, it's probably best that you do not give them any cash. Vietnam is not a dog-eat-dog capitalist country. This is a socialist state with a good social welfare system. There's healthcare, there's food, people are provided for. The government gave out rice to the poor during COVID lockdown. But you should also know, with the help of Facebook, the government does censor pretty much all social media and online activity. I would strongly recommend you do not surf on open Wi-Fi nets and you make sure you use a VPN at all times in the country. You can use my link for NordVPN below. That's what I've been using for years, but it's well worth it. You don't want to get caught with your pants down when you're looking at the porn, do you? Jokes aside, now for the fun part of the video. Food, beers, drinks, culture, incredible people. All of the reasons why we come to Vietnam as foreigners and appreciate their incredible hospitality and country. Let's start with the basic chopstick etiquette. Don't go small ends into a communal dish. That is a faux pas. No. You go on the back end of your chopsticks so you don't get your little spitties in the middle. No double dipping. You don't jam your chopsticks into the middle of a rice bowl because it looks like an offering at a funeral. Also, do not expect your servers or customer service people here to speak English. There's a significant language barrier. It's very common, but people are super cool and understanding about it because they don't expect you to have learned their extremely hard to pronounce language. In fact, almost everyone from the barber to a waiter to a driver will happily pull out their phone and use a translator app, no questions asked. The flip side is you do not want to mispronounce Vietnamese words because the slip of a single tone can alter the entire meaning of what you're saying. Seriously, do not be afraid to try all the amazing, incredible new things on the menus and point at anything and say, I'll have what they're having and yada yada. The food, the culture, the drinks, amazing and it's cheap, but do not go around saying pho yum, pho yum, pho yum, because if you mispronounce the word for their famous noodle soup, or you say the word that in English means tasty, you're going to be calling everyone a horny whore. I don't make this stuff up, folks. It's just the facts. Be prepared for a lot of laughter when you do mispronounce Vietnamese. They love it. They think it's hilarious. And generally, Vietnamese people appreciate you trying, even if it's a pathetic attempt at counting to 10. After dinner, you're going to want to party and smash a bunch of drinks. Or at least most of you are, because let's be real, Vietnam has a huge drinking culture. But be warned, do not ever turn down food or drink offered in kind from a stranger here. Food and drink are a love language to Vietnamese people, and turning down an offer to drink with your neighbor at a bar or to share food with people hosting you is akin to turning around and rejecting their love and saying you do not appreciate them and their kindness. Do not think you're being roofied when people here offer you a drink. Honestly, they just want you to share their food and they want to see your reaction and how you experience and enjoy and like Vietnamese culture. Honestly, it's super cool how excited Vietnamese people are to share their culture with foreigners. Side note, there are a lot of parties in this country and a lot of partying, but do not confuse a funeral for a party. There'll be drinking, there'll be dancing, there'll be music, there'll be seemingly merriment, but you'll know the difference because at a funeral, everybody will be wearing white. And while we're talking tradition, for the love of God, do not travel during Tet, aka Lunar New Year's. Nobody does anything. The entire country shuts down. It is like Christmas times 20. And if you do find some poor schmo working on Tet, for the love of God, be nice to this sucker. Forget what I said earlier. Do not trust open beverages. No draft beer, nothing floaty, nothing open, nothing sitting in the hot, humid air, just because of bacteria. Not because of rupees. And guys, please do not solicit prostitutes or pull your dong out during a massage in Vietnam. It is not kosher. This is not Pattaya or Bangkok or Thailand, and it's the wrong place to come if you're looking for sex tourism. But you can date Vietnamese women. I would suggest going on an app, Bumble, Tinder, etc. But do not stay in a hotel with an unmarried Vietnamese woman because that is illegal, and the aunties and uncles will side-eye you and judge you. Honestly, I wouldn't know, except for my wife, but staying in a hotel with a married Vietnamese woman is probably even worse than staying in a hotel with an unmarried woman. Last but not least, all the kidding aside, do not miss out on the natural beauty and scenic landscapes of this country. Vietnam is one of the most incredible, unique, wonderful, weird, fabulous places on planet Earth. I cannot recommend it highly enough. If anybody wants to know anything about the country or traveling in Southeast Asia, let me know in the comments. But the land and the people here are extremely proud of their nation and their culture, so treat it with respect. One last thing. If you do decide to ignore all of my advice and go out, get smashed in Japantown and the red light district of Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon, you're popping bottles, you're smoking hookahs, you're doing the bong at the bar at 4 in the morning, you have escorts or friend drinks with the girls, for the love of God, do not pay with your bank, Visa, or debit card. Use the Wise app or bring cash. Trust me, gents, I know guys who have lost literally tens of thousands of dollars in a single night this way. There's stories, they're on the internet. People are too embarrassed and it's illegal, so they can't go to the police anyways. Now watch this next video about all of the shocking and weird things that happened on my last trip abroad. Cheers, I'm Evan, eh?